What is up, everybody? Good morning. Good morning. It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations. And I'm the host of Epic Conversations 2020, Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads and fathers. It's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And in 2022, 2023, and 2021, jumped all around, reached out directly and indirectly to over 100,000 fathers around the world. I'm also a featured content creator for the Fly Nubian Queen Network, which is run by Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins, which has now over 580,000 YouTube subscribers. And I'm also a featured content provider and sit on the advisory board for Indie Soup Media, which is launching in 2 weeks, but we'll get to more of that in a few moments. Good morning, Ryan Knight.
Hey, good to see you, brother.
Good to see you. It's been a while.
Oh, yes, good to see you. For those that, might have forgotten who I am, my name is Ryan Knight, one of the co-founders of the Afro Caribbean Business Network. We support entrepreneurs of African and Caribbean heritage, really to figure out what stage your business is in, and then help you create a strategy to grow your company exponentially. And we are one of the recent winners of the 2023 BuyBlacks.com People's Choice Awards. And wanted to just say thank you to Roger Dundas, his wife Camille Dundas, and those others that were nominated. And but also remember, I am an entrepreneur myself. I do run a company called Detailing Nights. We provide mobile waterless car cleaning. So we go to your house or to your office, clean your car on the spot without using water, and our plant-based, eco-friendly cleaning supplies. And trivia note, Detailing Nights was the 2019 People's Choice Award winner for car cleaning. So, yes.
Double for your trouble. All right. Good stuff.
Right.
All right. So before we go any further, well, let's do people should know. Well, if you're brand new, you don't know, but Monday morning tradition. This episode of the Morning Vibe is sponsored by the McMillan Group, providing mortgage solutions one client at a time since 1999. Buying, refinancing, or investing, call them in Canada, 905-813-4354, US 904-586-5636. So that is our Monday ritual. And also got to make sure we do the other part of the Monday. There they go there. There they are. So US number, Canadian number, toll-free North American number, website, the McMillan Group Inc.com, and email address raycmcmillan@gmail.com. Some other things. If you want, subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. Also, follow the Dr. Vibe Show on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. If you want to advertise your business, product, or service, which a few people are doing now, more on any of the platforms that I host and are part of, email me dr.vibe@the drvibeshow.com. And finally, join the Morning Vibe Discord group. Email me again, dr.vibe@the drvibeshow.com. And you know what? There's one more thing. Do you mind? We got one more thing. All right, so we got one more thing coming up. We're going to do a little thing right here. So check this out. Black Marriage Day.
Excellent.
There you go. There you go. There you go. It's coming up. So Black Marriage Day, you and your partner are invited to join a celebration of Black Marriage Day on Sunday, March 24th, will take place at the Laws Cuisine Center at 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. The event features a delicious 3-course Caribbean dinner, entertainment, giveaways, Stimulant Conversation. Their theme this year, 24 Karat Marriage, is a celebration of the lasting value of Black love. Tickets are available at bit.ly/BlackMary24. And for more information, please contact Paul Osborne at naza.com@gmail.com. So you know what? Let me make it easy for you, family. Well, I'll just put it on the screen. There. There you go. And for those going,
gotcha.
who are they? They were on the show last Friday and they rocked the house. Like people were on and asking questions. And after the conversation, like I've known Paul and Nicole for a minute, hour, week. They go, man, your audience is so engaged. They come with serious questions. Yeah, they do.
Right.
Yeah, they do. So there's the information there. I'll also send it out to almost all the platforms you're watching live on the replay. So there you go. So Ryan, what's been going on? We haven't seen you in a minute, man.
Hey, keeping up with the children and their PA days, and now they're on March break. So shout out to all the parents that have the children home this week, trying to figure out activities.
Trying to figure out, yes.
But that's been good. And also, hey, the weather's been getting good, so detailing's been picking up. So that's always exciting. Yes. Although winter was creeping around yesterday. I saw some snow flurries and the wind. Oh man, that stuff will catch you off guard because I pulled out my spring jacket is out, so I am committed.
You're kidding.
Prepared for yes.
Oh my goodness! And you know what? There is a whole pile of people coming in for Carolyn. She'll be on in just a moment. Like it's just wow, people are on for Carolyn. So we'll get it on in just a few minutes. What's been going on, Black business, Black entrepreneur wise? Anything?
Well, we have been in full steam mode for the My Main Street grant. So those that have brick and mortar companies, and for the My Main Street grant, so it's a federal funding. So people might have heard of Digital Main Street, where that was initially for brick and mortar companies. Now there's a grant called My Main Street, where companies can get up to 10,000. No, sorry, up to 10,000. It used to be. Now it's 20,000 for their brick and mortar business. And when you put in your address, you have to be close to a designated main street. So we've been working with entrepreneurs that qualify based on their address, and now we're helping them do the applications. So the last week, we've already helped 25 entrepreneurs get their applications in. There's another 60 that qualify and that we're reaching out to. So we're trying to get those in this week.
So what are the qualifications for a business to apply for this?
Yeah, initially, so you do have to put your address into their interactive map, and then it'll show on the map if you're close. You have to be within 500 meters of a designated main street. And that was actually increased because it started out as you had to be 100 meters away. I think they got a bit of pushback, so they extended 500 meters. And even still, it shows like a green circle where if you're within that green circle, you do qualify. And the map has been a bit wonky. So it might say that you're ineligible, but if you're in the green circle, you are eligible. So definitely check that. And then you do have to have between 1 to 50 employees. You do need to have a brick and mortar place of business. So home-based businesses wouldn't qualify. And
I'm out.
What else? I think that's pretty much it. And you fill out their application and their online questionnaire. So you do have to submit your articles of incorporation or your registered master business license. You do have to submit.
These are called filters. So the amount of businesses that are African based is getting it's like on a reverse pyramid. It's going from Y to.
Hey, but this is where if
you gotta do it right.
Not registered your business, then you're not taking it serious.
There you go.
And so you do have to take pictures of your storefront and upload your documents that show you're making commercial payments, like a lease agreement or rental agreement. And and then you upload your application. So we've been hard at work helping people get their application because it is pretty intense. It's like 12 300-word questions that you have to answer. So people get stuck because typically if you run a brick and mortar business, you are busy running the store. So we're trying to go and see people and say, hey, did you hear about this? Let us help you get the application in.
Excellent. So a few things. Good morning, Fitness IQ, others known as KSF, EYL, RW, FQ, FV. And good morning, ladies and gentlemen, Richard S. We still haven't communicated, Richard S. Can we make the week that we have actually a live conversation, whether it's phone or video? And Fitness IQ Camp says, can you share the Black Marriage Day? Yes, I will do that. I'll share the Black Marriage Day information on Discord. Absolutely, we'll do that. What else is going on in the world these days?
Well, I'm curious if you saw, and it seems like it was released under the cover of darkness, the Senate of Canada released another report about the state of Black entrepreneurship. And I'm curious about all these reports that have now come up. And I have a Google Drive folder, and there's 12 in there from the past, I'd say 2020. So yeah, past 4 years, 12 different reports about Black entrepreneurship. And I have to start asking these people that are doing reports, like, when are you actually going to get to action-based activities? Like everybody, and you'll talk to them, because I remember when they did their first report, I was like, okay, it's nice that you've done the report, but now can we actually do tangible things? And I gave them a list of recommendations based on what the ecosystem was talking about with our meetings. And then 4 years later, they just do another report. So sometimes it makes you feel like they're really not taking this seriously.
I'm reported to death.
Research to death.
Yeah, because we all know what the challenges are. They're just saying the same thing over and over and over again. And number of different organizations are saying the same thing. Reporting is one thing. Action is the real game, right?
But that's where, okay, you do it once, and then we say, okay, do your thing. They're like, oh, that's our process to do a report. I was like, okay, fine. You have the findings, and now here are recommendations based on your own report of what we can do going forward. And they're like, oh, okay, well, we'll see if we can action that. And then crickets, and then they come out with another report. It's like, come on. Clearly, all you need to do, or all the government is interested in, is just symbolic gestures. Like, oh, let me tell you about.
Where have you heard that word symbolic?
Right?
Where have you heard that word symbolic?
So yeah, they need to get with the program and actually support the activities that are happening. Imagine the Senate of Canada actually supports Black Marriage Day and says, you know what? We heard about the report that the Black community needs help. We are here to support things that are actually happening. But I'll actually get that note. I'm going to send Paul a message that he should email
Paul who?
Senate.
Paul Osborne?
Osborne, yeah. Make the Senate support this program. If they're serious about actually helping the Black community.
Well, the question is, they're not. I wouldn't say they're not.
That's where you need to put pressure, because all these reports are waste.
Opal Inspired. Good morning, Opal's Inspired. Follow her creative creations, getting lots of views on her YouTube channel. Right Way Home. Good morning. Good morning. JG Mars from Colorado. Good morning, and thanks for being an active, engaged participant on Primetime Saturday with Aisha and Lala last Sunday. He was very engaged, going back and forth with Aisha a little bit, which was good stuff, by the way.
Gotcha.
And good morning, the Macmillan Group. Hi, we just talked about them. Notice? And says, are these reports being done from within or outside the Black community? I don't know. Maybe Ryan can say better than that before we go to break.
Well, they say that they've engaged with different organizations from the Black community, and they say that there's different stakeholders. So they'll make mention of different entities that exist. So that's fine. Like, yes, you can talk to and survey the Black community, but if you're just going to do a report and then it sits on the shelf and does nothing for 4 years, so I'm talking about their 2020 report, and then 4 years later, you just do another report, that shows to me you're not really serious about actioning anything. I don't know if it somehow makes them look good to say that they did a report on Black entrepreneurship.
They did something.
Check that box, but
Check
Yeah,
that
and
box. There
how
you
much
go.
money actually goes into doing these reports? That could be put towards something that actually can get stuff done.
Yeah, as I said, I'm reported out.
Hmm.
But you know, it just continues on. Trauma, repetition, symbolism. There you go. The
Right,
symbolism
right,
aspect. They did something. Oh, and then it's going to take time. Yeah, but
right.
all these reports say the same thing over and over. We don't need duplication. We all
Exactly.
know the challenge. One report is enough.
And it's been done. It's like just reference that and get to work.
All right. So
Yes.
we are going to jump off. We're going to take a little bit of a break for a few moments. And when we come back, hey, it's the second Monday of the month. Carolyn Nicol is going to be rocking the house from Northern Ontario. She's high. She's home ridden because her kids stole the car and are driving
Oh,
around with it. She told me before we got on live. She's going to be talking today about gluten. Yes, we got to find out because I know Ryan, I think a little while back, or someone I think last month's conversation about gluten says, okay, we got to talk about that. Okay, so we're going to
nice.
talk about it coming up on the morning vibe. We're looking forward to a lot of great questions because when Carolyn's on, it's fire. So hold tight, give us about 2 minutes. We'll be back, and Carolyn Cole will come and grace us with her lovely presence. Keep it locked.
And that's what I feel like. You feel like you're the Harry Tubman of the mind.
I
I
am.
feel like I'm the I'm one of the Harry Tubmans of intelligent Black people. Like I want to liberate y'all from like being left behind and ignored and oblivion. Now, really, the
Yeah.
rappers get all the attention. Seriously, does anybody else feel this way? Like ignorant Black people, they'll be all up, getting all the headlines on the Shade Room
Overly
and
sexualized Black
over
folks.
like the twerkers and the just people that don't always represent the best of us, the diversity, like people like Dr. Vibe. Like everybody should know about people like Dr. Vibe.
They
Dr.
really
Vibe
should.
he's trying to do good work for Black people. Dr. Vibe from Toronto, good to see you, my brother. Dr. Vibe, everybody follow Dr. Vibe. He has a great show. He's very good at what he does, and I have a lot of respect for him. The men who are also doing the same thing. I see Dr. Vibe in here. He's a great brother. Everybody should follow Dr. Vibe, by the way. He's a smart brother in Canada, and we need to follow smart people. So follow Dr. Vibe if you see him in the chat. And Dr. Vibe, say your name in the chat so people can see you. I want you to click on his name, and I want you to go follow him, please, because I want these men and women that are doing the right things to get the support they deserve. Hey, Dr. Vibe, how you doing, brother? Again, like I always do, I got to say everybody should go follow Dr. Vibe. He's got a great show. Dr. Vibe, I know Dr. Vibe's got a kingdom because I see your channel. I see you pouring into that every day. Everybody should follow Dr. Vibe, by the way. Look him up, Dr. Vibe, Vibe. He's a great friend of me and my wife, and I love this guy. Okay, so let me hop into this. What's up, Dr. Vibe? How you doing? Everybody, if you see Dr. Vibe in the chat, everybody go follow the Dr. Vibe show. Dr. Bob is a real smart brother and a good human being. I like the guy a lot, and he's very intelligent. And I think everyone should pay attention to what he's got going on. We got to shine the spotlight on the intelligent Black people out here that are really doing the good work. Don't just pay attention to the rappers and the celebrities. A lot of these people are losers. Your true winners are your people in your community that are really having your back. Helping us to have stronger families and a stronger community. So Dr. Bob is in that category. So you might see the Dr. Bob show in this chat. If you see him, please go follow him. Okay. All right. So anyway.
All right. Dr. Alicia, Dr. Boyce, huge thanks. And I gotta say, yesterday they had both of them individually had two great conversations yesterday. Dr. Boyce was talking with a gentleman about a lot of the videos you're seeing that are coming from African American or North American creators about single women, single guys, this, that. And there was a lady that was a video went viral the other day. This lady was saying she had 7 kids from the same gentleman. They're no longer together, and she wants to find a good man. So that was going back and forth.
Right. Yes.
So he was talking about another content creator that was sort of pushing back on him because he was saying, So this gentleman came on and they were going back and forth. And then Dr. Alicia at the same time was having a really interesting conversation. I don't know if people heard about it earlier on in the year. There was an African-American woman faculty head who committed suicide.
Oh boy.
And it found out through her diary, she was getting a lot of pushback from the head of the university. The head of the university ended up going on leave, paid leave.
Right.
It was a really interesting roundtable. Dr. Alicia was speaking with a coach, a lady who used to be a politician, African African-American woman, and then Dr. Tachi jumped in.
Okay,
So it's
nice.
a really good roundtable of conversations. I'm going to put the replay of both those conversations in the chat for the Morning Vibe Discord group. And speaking about Dr. Tachi, let's do this. There you go.
Yay.
Finally, Indie
Okay.
Soup Media is going live 2 weeks from today. If you're watching this live on March 11th, going live. We're one of the featured content creators because you'll be able to catch edited 1-hour versions of past Morning Vibe episodes on Indie Soup Media twice a week.
Oh, nice. I love it.
Twice a week. So if you don't catch us on my platform, you can go to Indie Soup Media and catch Ryan and I edited shows from the past. Yes, Carolyn, you're a few of those shows. Don't worry, I know you're going to ask, but so it's a new independent content creators network, and the reach is over 1 million people.
Excellent.
So,
Yeah, looking forward to supporting that.
That is happening. So very happy about that news, and there's some other news coming, but I'll hold back on that. But some things that I was working on and got some help over the weekend, and it involves YouTube. So I'm gonna keep silent. But you know what? This is the star of the show today on second Mondays of each month. She comes in and she basically, as we say, run things nutrition wise on the second Mondays of each month. If you haven't met her, you need to know about her. Colin Nicol, what's going on?
Hey, how are you?
Good morning. Good morning. How are things up north?
Wonderful.
How are things up north?
Really beautiful. I feel like winter. I love winter, and I feel like I didn't get much of a winter. We had our snowshoes on for maybe 3 weeks, but winter's back, I think, for a day.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, but no, things are good. Things are quiet. We've had our children and grandchildren up here for the last few weeks, so but they're not here today. How convenient, since we have a show.
There we go. What's been going on in the world of energy?
You know what? Some really amazing things. I just finished putting the calendar together yesterday, and we have only 2 retreats left that are going to be in the springtime, because after that, the next retreat will be in November. So those are starting to book up. We have a 4-day and 7-day in April and a 4-day and 7-day in May. So these are the retreats where we can take out the kayaks and the canoes, and we can actually go on Lake Rosso. And obviously there's still saunas and steam rooms and lots of learning about how to make natural remedies and how to cook plant-based. It's like education while you let your body heal, while you enjoy some very healthy recreational time. So I'm really excited, and the early bird deadline is March 30th to get $100 off your 4-day or $175 off your 7 days. So yeah, if you're thinking about it, now's the time, because time's running out.
Good stuff.
I
Good
love
stuff.
it. Love it.
I would love to see Ryan in a canoe.
Right.
I'd love to see him all bundled up, paddling. You know.
Yeah. If that does happen, I'll make sure to get footage of it for you.
Okay. Oh,
Yes.
so Fitness IQ Camp says, morning, Carolyn. And look who just jumped in. Dr. Tachi, we just played your promo for
Yes.
It was excellent.
we just played it. So don't people say, everyone in the chat who's watching say, yes, Dr. Vibe played the promo.
Yes,
so I'm not just talking the talk, I'm walking the walk. So this month, you want to talk about gluten.
Yeah, so much buzz about gluten, gluten-free, gluten everything. To do gluten, to not do gluten. Is gluten the enemy? Yeah, I don't pretend to have all the answers, but I wanted to give a little bit of insight of, um, what this whole gluten conversation is about and what the issue is. And does everybody have to be gluten-free?
Gotcha,
Well, we're
Because
just
I don't
steering the
know.
ship.
I mean,
Go ahead, Ryan. Go ahead.
well, I remember working at a pizza restaurant. I think it was Pizza, and they introduced the gluten-free pizza. And this thing was just a piece of cardboard. So I don't know what gluten is, but it's delicious. So I'm very curious to understand what it is and learn from you. So yeah, please take it away.
Absolutely. So, I mean, when it comes to gluten, here's the thing is that not all grains have gluten. Okay. So there's certain grains that have gluten, which are generally barley, wheat, and rye. And then you can get this, cross rye and wheat thing. But generally, those are the three grains that have gluten. But as we know, wheat is in like everything, right? So we use wheat so much. We do use barley and rye, but wheat is pretty much everywhere, whether it's in your pasta, whether it's in your bread, your baked goods, your dumplings, whatever you're having. Wheat is like the base of all of these things, right? So here's the thing is that the reason why that pizza dough is so wonderful and, it's moist and it's fluffy, it's because it's glutinous. So when the yeast goes in there, it has a greater fermentation when there's gluten in there. And that actual fermentation, I mean, I don't know, I'm sure if you worked in the pizza place, you see dough rising, right? So that doesn't happen very well when there's no gluten because it has such a low fermentation level. So when there's lots of fermentation, you get this nice elasticity thing. And then, you eat it, but unfortunately it boils the belly and makes the belly upset for some people. So I just wanted to piece this together to get people to understand so they can look at their own body, they can look at their own life and say, should I avoid gluten? Should I not avoid gluten? And is there a happy medium?
Gotcha. Because I mean, with gluten, you're saying it's boiling the belly. So I'm curious the after effects of eating gluten and the long-term effects. What do you find people are suffering from that would then need to avoid gluten? Like maybe some of the symptoms we can see and start to identify.
Yes. Dr. Vibe, were you going to ask something?
I was going to ask. First of all, there was a comment. Dr. Chai says, "Wow, you used to work at Pizza, Ryan." Hashtag.
I was a pizza delivery driver for Pizza Nova, Domino's, and Pizza.
What you should be owning shares in each one of them, man.
Right. Hey, you see, I wasn't thinking. I was in college days, man. Yes.
Well, and I just want to ask Carolyn a good question. It's interesting. You're impacting my alleged mind. Ever since I've met you, I haven't had pizza. Is there any sort of healthy pizza out there?
I wouldn't say that there's like a healthy pizza, but when I would like a pizza and I'm going to order it, they are doing better with gluten-free crust. So, and many pizzas now have the vegan cheese option, but I don't like it. So for me, I don't know if I can put a plug out for Pizza Nova because they have the absolute best sauce. But I find I order a gluten-free vegan pizza with no cheese, extra sauce, and they have like grilled zucchini and grilled peppers and artichokes and olives.
That sounds good.
Spinach.
That sounds good.
It's so good. But you know what? When I call or I order it, even the people are like, "This ain't pizza. Like this is not pizza." But anyway, that for me is like my healthy pizza. I will enjoy that once in a while.
Gotcha.
Ryan, did you have anything? Because I want to,
No, I asked mine. I'll park that while you're going.
Yeah. So, is gluten important for us to have, or is it an extra?
So here's the thing about gluten, okay, is that The problem today, and the reason why we're having this conversation today, and probably they wouldn't have had this conversation like 70, 80 years ago, it wouldn't have even been a place of topic, is because we are living in a very genetically modified world. And that's ultimately where the issue came, and why celiac disease, which is an intolerance for gluten, is hugely on the rise. I don't even think this was heard about 100 years ago. So cancer has been around since, almost the beginning of time. I mean, they've opened up tombs and seen seen signs of cancer in Egyptians. So cancer's been around for like ever. But this gluten intolerance has not been around forever. So that's real. So something has changed over the last like 80 years. And if you look back at the science, you'll see that genetic modification started to come like around the 19s. I could be wrong, but about like the 1970s, it started being played around with. And so we started perfecting this genetic modification in the 80s and 90s. And today we have this science almost down packed. But the problem is, I was reading a study of the wheat kernel, and they took 20 different species of wheat from like 1891 to 2010. And like, what does the gluten presence in these wheat kernels look like? And I don't want to get really technical here, but there's 2 proteins inside wheat gluten. And so on a good side, gluten has a lot of protein in it. When the body digests it, it should turn it to amino acids that are building blocks for protein. Okay. So generally grains don't have a high amount of protein in them, but in a grain like, gluten and wheat and oats, by the way, are naturally gluten-free, but because they're grown where wheat farmers are grown, gluten is airborne and there is cross-contamination. So that's why there's now gluten-free oats and non-gluten-free oats. But oats used to be in its original state gluten-free. So anyway, looking at these gluten grains that you have here, so you have rye, barley, wheat are naturally glutinous. Their protein is in their gluten. And there's really 2 proteins that are in there. And these 2 proteins had a certain percentage in 1891. And today their percentage is different, much different. And it's creating major issues, but it's because of the genetic modification. And I'm going to explain, Ryan, to your question as to, well, what does that do in the stomach? Because that's where we understand what the problem is. So what? It used to be at 15% and now it's at 18%. So what, one of the proteins, the glutenins inside one of the proteins, you have glutenins and then you have the gliadins, and those 2 proteins, their percentage has changed since the 1800s to today. And again, I mean, I'm not, a biologist, but when I look at that and I look at how gluten is digested in the stomach gut, a light goes on in my head and I'm like, that's the issue.
Right. So in the study, did it say why they had to increase the gluten? Like, did it help with taste or did it help with just mass manufacturing?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So genetic modification was never designed to increase gluten. Genetic modification was designed to make the wheat grow quicker and faster because it's so on demand. As population increased and wheat became the main product and the main staple of society all around the world, the smart food scientists were trying to figure out, how can we get wheat to be harvested quicker? How can we make it less expensive for the farmers to grow this mass amount of wheat? So basically what they did is they changed the DNA of the wheat kernel so that it grows faster And it's a shorter stalk. It's not a longer stalk. So now it can be ready when it's at this stage rather at this stage.
Right.
And of course, that's been, I mean, it probably happened before the 1970s, but that's been in food science in labs for many, many years, trying to figure out until, I mean, I don't know if they're still changing it. I don't know all the science, but wheat today grows faster, shorter. And what they also figured out is that if they can add the pesticides inside the kernel, rather than having to spray so much pesticides on the wheat, because pesticides are very expensive. You know, we know our food is full of pesticides, but believe you me, if you talk to a farmer, they want to buy the least amount of pesticides possible because it's very expensive. So if you can get a kernel that needs less pesticides, wow, you as a farmer, you're buying that kernel. So, you know, Monsanto, which is the biggest food scientist, they put the most money into this food science. They've come up with this incredible new wheat product that grows faster, quicker, but it has the pesticides in it. So unfortunately, you can't go and mess around with something, mess around with the DNA, and it doesn't affect other things. You know, the ankle bone is still attached to the knee bone. So because of this genetic modification, you've also changed the proteins inside the wheat gluten that they've become a much higher percentage. And that's a real issue for the stomach gut.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So take a little breath. Carolyn takes her water and I'm drinking my water. All right. So just a few little catch up things. So just for those who are out there, special offer as always. If you want to get a consultation with either Carolyn or one of her nutritionists on her team, $49 instead of $110. Email info@Energy Shack Juice Bar. Mention the Dr. Vibe or the Morning Vibe in the subject matter. And it's global, by the way, family. Global, not just Toronto based. If you have any questions about physical health, email again, Carolyn at info@Energy Shack Juice Bar. And I put all this information in most of the comment sections wherever you're watching this. So just wanted to catch up. And also, most importantly, if you want to get contact information, there it is. Website, email, phone number, Facebook and YouTube, Instagram. And that's also in all the comment sections wherever you're watching. So just wanted to interrupt there. And there are always is comments where Carolyn is, wherever she is, wherever she may be. Let's see. Just want to catch up. There's so much going on here today. Fitness IQ Camp says, yeah, Pizza Nova is awesome. Dr. Tachi says, the interesting thing is that in Italy, many pizzas are not drenched with cheese. Some are the crust and the sauce.
Okay, yes.
Europe has different standards for food,
yes,
much higher than here.
Fitness IQ, I do notice a difference when I have done the detox and no gluten. All right. Carolyn will say yay to that. Go ahead, Ryan.
Is there a test that shows if your gluten's out of control? Like, is there... yeah, because would you have to test like the stomach acid, or you have to? Does a blood test show? Like,
that's a good question, because we can test about diabetes, we can test about blood pressure. What about gluten levels?
Yeah, you can test it. You can go to your doctor and see if you have celiac disease for sure. I don't know all the ins and outs and science behind what they're doing, but you can absolutely test to see if you have celiac disease. And so. And basically what's happening with celiac disease is it's an autoimmune disorder. And are we good with the questions there, Dr. Vibe? Because I'm just going to like open up a whole new door.
Okay, well, just let me get through these comments. So Ramsey Unleash, Dr. Vibe, how's it going? It's going fine. And I haven't forgot. He goes, yes, in case you forgot. Yes, Ramsey's tuning in from Edinburgh, Scotland.
Wow.
Yeah, we go back to... There's a platform called Blab Days. And I know Dr. Tachi goes back to those days. Michelle goes, so true. I watch a YouTube video on how the way wheat has, I don't know what the rest is there. Let me just...
over time.
Yeah, he didn't finish off, but Ramsey says all the good plotting on. We're glad to hear. Also, Michelle says, so true. I watched a YouTube video on how they changed the way wheat is grown. Some pesticides that are allowed in the USA are not allowed in Europe. And it also says the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration in the US, do not care about US consumers. That's a whole other conversation. And I guess I got my comment for the day. Dr. Vibe, you have not aged a bit.
All right.
All right. So on those things, Michelle, love your comments. Fraser, love your comments. Everybody keep them coming. It's time for Carolyn to open up. So go open up.
Okay. So basically, here's the thing, is that food in itself is not digested in the stomach, okay? Food's digested in our intestinal tract. And so your pancreas produces certain enzymes to help digest. And you need the protease enzyme in order to digest gluten. Now, the reality is that gluten from your food, like, understand that, yes, you might be eating a piece of bread, but your body breaks everything down to its molecular state in the intestinal tract. So gluten is taken out of the bread, like, you know, if there's vitamin E in there or if there's fiber, everything's broken down to its molecular state inside the intestinal tract, which tells you that we should be chewing our food, because if it goes into our intestinal tract whole, because there's no teeth in our stomach, our body can't break that down. Okay, so really chew your food well. Don't eat and drink at the same time, because you dilute your stomach acids. And really, like, digestion's everything. If your food does not go into its healthy state into the intestinal tract, your body can't use the nutrients that are in your food. So if you're like mowing down your spinach salad, you know, with all your good toppings, but you're not chewing it well, you're not getting those nutrients. That's just a little side note. I'll get back to gluten. Okay, so so here we have, you're eating wheat, you're having some regular bread, your body's breaking it down. And so now that gluten requires specific protease enzymes in order to digest that gluten. And part of that process is that the gluten begins to ferment. And we see that when we're making bread, we see that it has a very high fermentation concentration and ability to ferment. So that fermentation process is necessary in order for it to digest. And most people can handle that. But here's the problem, is that because the gluten is much higher now in wheat today, the fermentation is much higher in wheat today. And because that fermentation is very acidic, I mean, I'm sure you could see when if anybody's baked bread and the bread starts fermenting, you smell alcohol, right? So that's actually not healthy in the stomach gut, but most people have the ability to handle a little bit of fermentation. But we're losing that ability because it's becoming too fermented, because there's so much more gluten. And so that alcohol actually signals your immune system to come and join the party here. We need help.
Oh,
so
boy.
Here's the problem, is that your immune system, which 80% of it lies in your stomach gut. And again, I mean, I'm going off science and research, and I'm pulling my own understanding of the conclusion here of the whole matter from taking everything I see in science, is that when you have fermentation in your stomach gut, okay, and this is just, again, another side note, alcohol kills us, people. It destroys your immune system. It poisons your liver. So your bread turns to alcohol. Wheat does that. Yes, it does, because of the fermentation of the gluten. Okay. So this kind of a response in the stomach gut becomes very problematic, because it signals your T cells, part of your immune system, to come into, and it's almost like a trap. Come on in here, T cells, we need your help, because there's fermentation. So when this is constantly happening, and a person who has maybe a lot of stress or some genetic dispositions with their immune system, it is a constant false signal, but the immune system still sends those T cells into that fermented wheat it gives a false signal for the immune system. Now we have our immune system fighting against itself, and we have celiac disease because you already had in the past, whether it was through stress, whether it was through genetics, you already had a compromised immune system, and this is the straw that broke the camel's back. So now anytime there's even a little bit of fermentation, whether that's through your barley, whether that's through your oats, whether that's through whatever, your immune system is now trained that this is a major problem because it's killing off our immune system. So it reacts very, very poorly. The average person would just feel some bloating or inflammation in their stomach gut every time they have wheat because of that fermentation process. But somebody with celiac, their immune system is off the charts and their bloating is crazy. They have swelling, they have brain fog. Those who are not celiac are going to experience these things, but on a much smaller scale. It hasn't gone here, so it hasn't become a disease. But the reality is the whole entire world is intolerant to wheat because of its genetic modification. Damn. So you're going to feel that maybe a little bit. I definitely get a bit of brain fog. I feel the bloating in the stomach whenever I have wheat. But if I had a glass of wine, I would feel the same way. It affects your brain. It's going to affect your stomach because that's what alcohol does.
So wheat gets you drunk?
Drunk on bread?
Yeah, wheat gets you drunk. And I just want to tell you something. So does sugar. That's why, you feed a child some sugar and they're bouncing off the walls. They're totally drunk. That's the reality because sugar ferments.
But this whole bread and alcohol, man.
Yeah, that's real. And so go with me for a second.
No. So Ryan, no more hardo bread.
Yeah, I know. It's sitting in the kitchen right now. I'm like, well, this is the last batch.
Ryan drunk. Ryan
drunk on a Monday.
Drunk on a
Ceremony
Monday.
for oxtail. A ceremony for my hardo bread. What's next? My dumpling and corned beef and cabbage is gone next.
Dumplings.
What?
You can make gluten-free dumplings.
Oh,
I do it all the time for my husband.
Gluten-free.
I'll check
would
that
love
out.
that
I'm
recipe.
You, the pizza scared me.
Recipe.
I don't pizza.
I miss having fried dumplings.
I didn't say fried.
If you gave me a gluten-free recipe.
Oh, it can't be fried.
Boiled dumplings. Boiled
dumplings.
Okay. Yeah, fried food's like, not good for anybody.
All right, continue on, Carolyn. You're raining on our parade.
Yeah,
Go on.
We're gonna have like a show of food funerals. Like, what food should we do an eulogy for that is now done in our life?
I think that'd be a great IG series.
Right? Yeah.
The Energy Food Shack Funeral series. Have the music in the background.
Lasted. Yeah.
I love it. I think we need to do that. That's awesome.
Have the song "Amazing Grace" played while it's going to the garbage.
I'm telling you. Right? Yeah.
I'm serious. I think that'd be a lot of fun. I think that'd be a lot of fun. We probably oh, look at this. Dr. Tachi goes #rest well. That's hilarious. Man. #rest well. That was good.
That's where we're going.
Oh my gosh. So we probably messed up your train of thought, Carol. I hope
not at all.
Not at all. That was good.
This is a good commercial.
Oh my goodness. So gluten isn't needed. Wheat makes you drunk.
Yeah.
So does gluten have any nutritional value?
So it's not a matter of nutritional value. So it's not a matter of gluten having nutritional value. It has a lot of protein in it. But can you get protein from other sources? So is it worth the protein you're getting? Because But gluten is in your oats. Gluten is in your rye. And because those have some genetic modification, but not as much as wheat, most people can handle the gluten in rye. They can handle the gluten in spelt. They can handle the gluten in some oats. Most people can do that. So again, if we were eating 100 years ago, I would tell you to have whole wheat bread. Like, it's so good for you because it has a good amount of protein, because it has fiber. But with the genetic modifications that are having, it is like not needed for the human body at all. Quinoa is a great grain. Brown rice is a great grain. Millet is a great grain. Buckwheat's a great grain, and they have no gluten in it.
Just going to interrupt. So I bought some rice from Energy Jack. What makes that okay for me to eat?
So because there's no gluten in it.
That's what I wanted to get to.
However, I want you to remember that we are in the Whisk Gluten-Free Bakery, and the Whisk Gluten-Free is a fantastic company. They make amazing products, but you will see, cupcakes and cookies, which are totally fine on special occasions and once in a while. But the reality is that sugar also ferments, creates that alcohol situation. Now imagine with me, you are making a regular cake. You're putting wheat, and you're putting sugar, and then you're putting dairy, highly inflammation. You put wheat and sugar together, wow. You might as well just be feeding all those children at that birthday party. Here, have a shot of vodka. Seriously. Wow. But wheat ferments, sugar ferments, and this is so much alcohol in the body. Yeah, wow. It's really, really bad.
Okay. We've got questions. The questions are coming now because we're going, Carolyn is like dropping knowledge bombs. So first up, Michelle says, what is in corn wheat? That was a suggestion to flour. Not 100% sure if that's cornmeal. So do you know anything about corn wheat?
I've never heard of corn wheat. I only know cornmeal.
What are your thoughts on cornmeal?
Corn is super genetically modified. However, unlike wheat, it's very difficult. I know they say they have it in Europe, but it's very difficult to find non-GMO wheat. It is really difficult, but some people say they've tried it, and I've tried it as well, what they call the Ecorn original wheat husk. I still feel a little bit bloated when I have it, so I just stay away from it. But you can get non-GMO corn, and in GMO corn, gluten is not so much the issue. It's that it has more molecules than the body recognizes, so it can't be digested properly. The body doesn't recognize it as food, and it creates inflammation. But that's another story for another time. I'm just saying that you can get non-GMO corn, usually in frozen kernels or already ground for a cornmeal. But I recommend that wheat, corn, and soy, the most top genetically modified foods in the planet, that you avoid them. I know our cucumbers are genetically modified. I know our grapes are. I know our peppers are. I know most of the food. Those aren't creating issues like genetically modified wheat, soy, and corn.
Oh, okay. What is this about grapes? I don't want to do a funeral for grapes. What's happening? What do I need to worry about grapes?
I'm just saying, grapes don't have seeds in it. Watermelon don't have seeds in it. That means it's been genetically modified, right? Yeah. But I say pick your battles, right? So we're not going to have a funeral for grapes, but I would have a funeral for genetically modified wheat,
yes,
corn, and soy. Now you can still get non-GMO soy. You can still get non-GMO corn, but I don't trust any non-GMO wheat. I can tell on my own body and that of my clients that it's not doing well. And the digestion of it becomes the issue. So the body can no longer fully hydrolyze, like completely digest gluten anymore. It's impossible. There's always some gluten left in the stool. Now, fiber should be the only undigestible product for the human body, which is a good thing. Mm-hmm. But now the body cannot fully digest gluten. So that becomes a problem. That's why most people feel like when they eat wheat, they still have this heavy feeling. It's like it's not leaving, it's not going away. That's where they get the bloating. It's still there, right? Because wheat cannot be fully digested, the gluten in it. But for somebody with a celiac disease, that gluten never gets fully digested. That means your whole entire intestinal trip, that gluten is still there. And somebody whose immune system thinks that's an enemy, it is this constant battle and fight in the intestinal tract. So somebody with celiac disease, whose immune system's been set off with gluten, it's this never-ending story. And that's why until you have a bowel movement and it fully leaves the system, it's just going to be a trouble for days.
Wow. Wow.
Gotcha,
This
gotcha.
is we're getting nutritional knowledge bombs by Carolyn Nichol of the Energy Shack Juice Bar, and keep the questions coming. There's a lot of things. So I'll just follow Dr. Tachi. I think you answered this. Is it possible to get wheat that is not GMO?
Again, they say that I'm not saying it right because I forget the name. Ecorn, ECKORN. They say that that's the original wheat, but I've tried it and I don't feel good digesting it. I don't think that it's original. But I'll tell you, in Europe, I've had clients that are intolerant to wheat. They go to Europe because they have so many high standards in their FDA that we don't, and they can eat wheat over there without major issues. So they can tolerate it a bit more, but not fully. Right. So yeah, I don't think that you can really get non-genetically modified wheat, but you can find products that say they have it. I just don't believe it.
Okay. All right. Ramsey I think it's the first time he's seeing you, so I'll give you this question. What is your view on keto?
So the ketogenic diet, which asks you to avoid any carbohydrates, have high meat, high fat, because it puts your body in a state of ketosis, forcing your body to use fat for fuel, and now you give yourself more fat. That's fine for a very short term in life, to lose some weight or to get rid of diabetes. Long term, it's so detrimental. And I'm going to say detrimental because, in my practice, I'm working with people with very serious chronic issues. And I've got all these ketogenic people on my program that have kidney disease, and their diabetes is now out of whack, and their blood pressure is high, and they have fatty liver because they've been living off keto for the last couple years. So ketogenic diet, long-term, all that protein, all that fat is dangerous for the body. You want to do it for 3 weeks, maybe a month, but then it's not sustainable. So there is a different way that I recommend eating that gets your weight down, reverses diabetes. And guess what? It heals your kidneys and your liver in the process. So if you want to get in touch with me, Dr. Vibe has that information.
Yeah.
But yeah, not a fan of keto.
Yeah, you're reading my alleged mind first. I think it may be worth a suggestion, getting a consultation. I put the contact information in the comment section on YouTube where you're watching, but I'll also just I'll put it right here in that regard. So I would make a suggestion. And yeah, I know you're in Scotland, but time difference doesn't matter. You can do it via Zoom.
Listen, I have a client in Africa that I'm talking to at 2 p.m. today, 8 p.m. Africa time. I work with everybody everywhere.
There you go. A global ambassador. Next question. Opal says, is teff flour better than regular flour?
Yes. So let's talk about what gluten-free grains are. Teff. You've got teff, you've got quinoa, you've got millet, you've got buckwheat, you've got brown rice. There's quite a few out there that are gluten-free grains. So those are what I sort of go towards. Now, you don't need a lot of grains in your diet, to be honest. Like the need for grains are a carbohydrate, but your lettuce, your cucumber, your tomatoes, your celery, your fruits, these are also carbohydrates, right? So I would agree that the grains keep you a little fuller longer, but you don't need a massive amount of grains. So, but teff is definitely a good grain to have. And so what I'm hoping everybody understands is that the average person should be able to enjoy oats, enjoy rye, enjoy barley. That's not the major issue. Gluten is not the enemy. Wheat has become the enemy because the gluten has changed in wheat. Mm-hmm. But you can't go to a grocery store and buy wheat-free products. There's only two distinctions with manufacturers, is that it either has wheat or it's going to be gluten-free. So I'm just saying that gluten is not the enemy. Wheat has become the issue with its genetic modification. It has increased its gluten, and the body cannot digest it and fully get rid of it. It cannot fully hydrolyze it. Like it, you know, your body should take your food and nutrients and turn it to nothing. It should just become molecules. Can't do that with gluten that's in wheat. So I'm just saying that wheat has become the enemy, not gluten. But for those with celiac disease, gluten is the enemy, but it's because of a suppressed immune system and our genetically modified wheat.
Okay, I want some clarity here. So if you don't have celiac disease, wheat is the enemy. Wheat is the enemy because of what? The modification. So is wheat in its purest form still an enemy for many of us?
So there's no such thing as pure wheat.
Okay.
But if we were having this conversation 100 years ago,
okay,
I would be telling you to eat wheat.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. You just can't anymore because Monsanto thinks he's smart, but it was all about money.
Right.
And we could say there was a huge population demand for wheat and we had to do something different. But at the end of the day, if we couldn't produce that much wheat, then people would just eat more potatoes or
starch,
right? So this was all a money scam, and it's destroying our digestive system.
So people eating whole wheat bread, it's not benefiting them.
No, zero. No, and in fact, it's worse. It's actually worse because now the fibers are harder to get out, and you'll find, like, honestly, for me, and you'll probably be happy to hear this. If I ate white hardo bread, I wouldn't feel so bloated. If I eat 100% whole wheat bread, I'm going to have a stomach ache. I'm not telling you to eat white bread, but there's like less fiber, so the body's working less.
You know, it's interesting. I haven't had it for a long time, but I get bloated when I eat hardo bread. It bloats me.
It's the wheat. It's the genetic modification of wheat. So that's in everything wheat, any kind of flour, whether it's white flour, brown flour, a mix of flours. Wheat is the problem. It's the enemy.
Okay. That gives me some great clarity because haven't had for a long time. I remember in the past, it used to bloat me, even though it tastes nice. And an hour or two later, it would begin to bloat me.
That's right. It's because you just had alcohol.
Right. That's wild.
Christopher asked a question I think many of us may be thinking. How can we be certain that, quote, gluten-free, unquote, products are truly gluten-free nowadays? Mamma mia, he goes.
Yeah.
So Carolyn Mia.
Well, so you know what? I had a client call me at the grocery store yesterday. She's like, okay, I'm here. You know, can I buy these? Can I buy this? Can I buy this margarine? Does it have canola oil? And I'm like, read the ingredients to me. Okay, can I buy these tofu cutlets? I don't know. Read the ingredients to me. So a lot of people don't realize that front flashy sign, that marketing thing that says gluten-free, non-GMO, vegan, I don't care about it. Turn me to the writing on the back of it. And so, Christopher, that's just where you need to go. Read your ingredients. So if it says, you have to pay a good penny. And, you know, Whisk Gluten-Free knows all about that, the bakery that we're in. They pay some serious money to say certified gluten-free. So I don't believe anybody's going to mess with that. If it says certified gluten-free, probably it is. But here's the problem, is that gluten-free doesn't mean healthy. When you turn the back, you're going to read potato starch, rice starch. You're not reading teff flour and quinoa flour. So this is just full of starches, which is going to make you fat, which is going to feed your diabetes. So gluten-free doesn't mean healthy. You've got to read your ingredients. But if something says gluten-free, probably it is, but it doesn't mean that it's healthy. It could have potato starch, rice starch, sugar, tapioca starch, and wow, now I have a cracker. That's doing nothing for you. It's full of refined carbohydrates that are going to feed disease. You're looking for flours that are whole, like teff, like quinoa, like buckwheat, like rice, brown rice, but those are expensive. So your manufacturers are only trying to reach this new fad of gluten-free, and they're throwing just empty starches in their product, adding some sugar and salt, and now you have a gluten-free product, which by the way is vegan, and they have all those signs at the front and make the picture pretty.
Wow. Another thought for a series. Carolyn, grocery shopping.
Yeah, right?
Ah, nice. Yeah.
Or just a suggestion, an IG series.
I've done it. I take my camera. You can see our shorts on YouTube. I've done it. I walk through the cereal aisle.
even buying products good, not good. Just a series of like, here's just an IG. I'm coming up with content for you as if you need more ideas. But no, I'm being very serious.
No, 100%. People don't know how to grocery shop. They don't know what to look for.
This and that. Hey, I'll be your willing victim if you want me to come along.
Okay.
I would love to do that because I think people, just what you said there about the whole marketing aspect, I think 100%. Is really important.
Look past the front cover of the book.
Actually, Kata's place says makes sense that gluten turns alcohol because it's created from wheat. Okay.
Well, what is beer? Right?
There you go.
Beer is made from wheat.
Barley and hops. Yep. Michelle asks, is cassava bread good?
So I would say that I have seen some cassava breads that are okay, but the problem is that cassava is really just a starch. So there's not a lot of nutrients in it, and understand that as soon as it's going into a package, it's processed. So now we've taken cassava, we've dried it, we've processed it. What's really left? So would that be a better alternative than getting a whole wheat bread? Sure, but if you're diabetic, I would tell you to not touch cassava bread because it's going to be too starchy.
Michelle's asking for a brand recommendation. Can you recommend a brand of gluten-free bread? Does the place you're at, don't they have that? Don't they have bread?
So I don't know, Michelle, where you're in, but if you come to Whisk Gluten-Free Bakery, I am telling you, I haven't traveled the whole world, but I have traveled to a number of places, and I have never, ever, ever tasted amazing gluten-free bread that doesn't even taste like gluten-free. My grandchildren eat it. That says a whole lot for kids to eat gluten-free bread and not complain. And it tastes amazing. So they've done an excellent job at perfecting how to make amazing teff bread, whole grain bread.
The teff bread is good. I've tried. I got to say, the teff bread.
The teff bread. It's like rye bread.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
It's so good.
The teff. I love the teff bread with almond butter. Rocks. Teff bread with almond butter rocks. Well,
so Michelle, if you can get to the Whisk Gluten-Free Bakery or go online, they do deliver.
Unfortunately, she's in New Jersey.
So I can freeze the bread and I can send it to you.
There you go. So
nice.
Carolyn, I'm going to put the contact information again. Reach out to her. There, there's the email address. Reach out to her. Make it happen. Make it happen. Make it happen. Ryan, you've just been listening. What's going on? Any questions? Any comments?
No, I'm just taking in the information.
Michelle says, yeah. Okay, well, hopefully you'll get in touch with Carolyn.
That's good. Now, and one thing I guess I asked earlier, symptoms. Like, so if celiac disease is bubbling but not there yet, what things can we kind of look out for just to make sure that, we can get ahead of it instead of waiting till it actually hits?
Yeah, so symptoms of celiac disease is a lot of inflammation, major bloating, constipation because the bowels are having trouble with all this gluten, a lot of brain fog, and just that's a big thing that people with celiac disease will tell you. It's just like this fog over their head. It's difficult to think or function. But inflammation in the joints, a lot of bloating in the stomach, and constipation. Those are some of the main things. And again, people that are not celiac, the average healthy person, a lot of celiac people are healthy, but the average person, even without that autoimmune disorder, are going to feel those symptoms, but just on a smaller scale. Doesn't mean you have celiac, but it's just what's going to happen because we become gluten, because the gluten in bread is trouble, in wheat is trouble.
Do you find people would get sick more since their immune system's busy fighting the fermenting bread and not fighting actual like viruses and such?
So, this is why we have like these major bugs today, right? Because our body, our wheat is genetically modified. We're taking so many antibiotics. We don't even realize that even though you might not be taking antibiotics, 80% of antibiotics that are made in America go into our chicken and beef. So we take antibiotics through our animal products and they kill our immune system. So we don't even realize that, yes, the wheat and genetic modification of wheat is destroying our immune system, but the food we're eating today is just killing our immune system. And that's why we can get COVID all around the world, bugs and flus all around the world. Everybody keeps getting sick, and the bugs, the viruses are getting smarter and wiser because we're losing our probiotics. Our immune system is being diminished. So this is the real pandemic, is just that our food has changed so much. Like, I would have told you 100 years ago that it'd be okay to eat chicken. It's not okay anymore. It's full of antibiotics, hormones. It's a mess. It's a mess.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Vegetables.
How much is this food crisis related to the rapid increase of the population of the world?
Well, this is another political discussion for another time, because I will tell you, there is enough land unused to grow enough food for the entire world. But our food industry is controlled by a few very wealthy organizations.
Yeah.
So we've created a food crisis. But if you look at the Earth satellite vision, and you see there are so many uninhabited places, I wouldn't say uninhabited, but there's still so much land left. Of course, we morph into cities, but there is enough land in the world to grow enough food for the entire population. Unfortunately, our meat and dairy farmers create so much toxic waste and use up unnecessary land to grow more meat when we could be using that for healthy grains, vegetables, and fruits. But there's so much population control, there's so much food industry control that you and I, the best thing we could do is just find land and grow it ourselves. Because I'm not saying that I'm tapping out on trying to help the world, but it's on such a global scale. There is no food crisis. It is a controlled food crisis because there's a few people controlling the food industry.
Okay. Christopher agrees with you. Yeah. Yep. Artificial scarcity.
Yeah. It's yeah.
In regards to the gluten, especially with younger kids like Ryan has, what are some things that him and his beautiful wife can do to set a good foundation in regards to potential gluten challenges as they grow older?
This is a very good question, because the reality is, I think, in the room, we're all like somewhat the same age. So my children who are in their 20s grew up with the initial modification of gluten. But if you have kids that are now anywhere from like, say 12 years old and under, that's all their body has known is this so-called perfected genetically modified wheat. So that's all they've known. And so I'm seeing, because I'm meeting with more and more children today, I'm seeing this interesting division. I'm seeing kids that have come accustomed to this genetic modification, and then I'm seeing kids that are totally not reacting well. It seems that there's just this division. But the ones that have become accustomed to it, there's so much more acne. There's these little kids walking around with bellies, which is totally what wheat does. But then I'm seeing these young children with seizures. I'm seeing young children that are having diabetes. I just work with 2 12-year-olds that are type 2 diabetic, like what? So we're seeing this either a very chronic disease or this slow morph of I can tolerate it and I don't even notice it. And we're thinking that these early periods, these early acne, these painful cycles, these stomachs, it's just become the norm of society. But I think it's just too difficult to make your kids wheat free. It's very difficult to make a child wheat free. It's in everything. It's in the crackers you give them, and it's in the toast that you give them. It's in their cereals. It's in their pasta. So I took the challenge on as a parent, and I made my kids mostly gluten free. But the problem is that as soon as they have gluten, they have these horrible acne breakouts. So that's what's happening in my kids. Is that because I protected them from gluten growing up and now they have zero tolerance? I think so, yes. But would that small tolerance of gluten have created worse issues down the road? Yes. So I like that their face and their body speaks to them every time they have wheat, right? Because that keeps them on track, because the 20-year-olds care about their complexion and how their face looks, right?
Gotcha.
So this is the issue. I do believe that we have to pick our battles. I believe I have grandchildren. Do they eat wheat sometimes? Yes. But do I give them gluten-free as far as I can? You better believe it. Yeah. So you have to choose your battles. But I do believe that if we ate more fruits and vegetables, and like, it's really easy to just boil up gluten-free pasta. Kids honestly don't know the difference. Like they have perfected that very well. Nice. So maybe you're still going to give them regular toast, but for pasta, maybe you're going to give them the gluten-free pasta. Maybe you're going to grab the rice crackers as their regular crackers, but sometimes they are going to have Cheerios, which has gluten in it also, right? So I think there has to be, with our children, some sort of compromise. But if you're noticing that your child is reacting very terribly to gluten, then you are going to need to make a serious change.
Yeah, it makes sense. Thank you for that.
Ryan, any more questions?
No, not on my end. I'm just thinking of my kitchen to see where the burial plots will be for the foods that I can't eat anymore. The backyard's going to be completely transformed. Always appreciate you, Carolyn.
Fitness
IQ.
Fitness IQ says LOL. And as we start winding down the conversation, because I know you got things to do, on a scale of 0 to 10, Carolyn, from your lens, how serious is this issue, the gluten-free issue, from your lens?
So from my lens, the gluten-free issue is, I'm going to say, like, I'm ranging between 4 and 6, but the wheat issue is a 10.
Right.
Like I said, most people can handle regular oats. Most people can handle pure rye. Most people can handle some barley. Nobody can handle wheat. Nobody can.
Wow. Wow. JJ Mars says, so much for soul food or Southern cooking.
Oh boy.
Well, I think that's a good way to end off another epic visit from Carolyn. What's coming? So you've told us at the front end, just remind us, what are some of the things coming up in Energy Shack Juice Bar world?
Yeah, so just so you know, on April, we've got a couple things coming up. April 7th and April 14th, we are having gluten-free vegan cooking classes.
Oh.
So join our email list.
Yes.
Follow us on Instagram,
yes.
The Energy Shack Juice Bar. It's up on the screen, because just for $20, on the 7th, come to Club One Studio. We're going to give you a workout with their trainers, and then we're going to show you part 2 of amazing vegan spreads. We're going to show you how to make vegan cream cheese, a delicious date butter. Yeah, it's going to be wonderful. And then on the 14th in Whitby, for our Durham fans, we are going to be having detox Mediterranean style. So actual food like tabbouleh salads and fattoush salads and a twist on hummus that actually helps you detoxify deliciously. So those tickets are only $20.
I think you're going to see me at one of those events.
Yeah, it's wonderful, because you walk away with the recipes, but you also learn how to make it. And then the last week in March, we're having a Strong Mind, Strong Body Week. So on Zoom on Tuesday, we're going to talk about how to have a strong frontal lobe. And Charlene, one of my lead nutritionists, she's going to, on Thursday, talk about which foods actually strengthen the mind and actually can help you even handle anxiety better. So those are 2 free Zoom calls that are coming up.
Okay.
And we even on March 18th, you've got to just stay connected, because on March 18th, I'm doing a cooking demo on Zoom. It's free from my kitchen on what foods are delicious and actually help bring blood sugar down. So there's so much.
So sign up, people. Sign up. Fitness IQ goes, I can't just, and says, yes, please. What are you saying yes, please to?
Everything.
Okay.
Yes.
No, I'm going to be certainly doing those. Okay.
Yeah, follow us, join our newsletter,
Christopher
go on our
says,
website.
which grocery store in the GTA would you say offers the healthy? Wow, people come with good questions today.
You know what, Christopher? I love the Superstore. And the reason why is because I find that it has a really good organic section. It has a great health food section. And it also has your regular offerings. And it's kind of priced between the most expensive grocery stores and the not so expensive. But even if you need to go to, Only No Frills or Price Chopper, you can, they're getting wiser out there. But I love the Superstore wherever I go. And Superstore is also independent grocer and Loblaws. That's all under the same. It's all under the same.
Weston Group.
Yeah.
Good old Galen.
Yes, good old Galen.
Good old Galen. Oh,
yeah, and I'm sure there's financial mess and terrible political powers going in there, but I do appreciate the Superstore with their freshness and organic options.
Ramsey says, all this food talk while I eat a coffee and walnut muffin from Costco, not the most healthy.
Ramsey, call me.
He's in Scotland. He's got to do the email thing. Reach out. OMG, Price Chopper is still around. I haven't seen a Price Chopper outside of Toronto. I think they are.
There's one at Brimley and I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, I know. Yes, I know the one you're talking about. Yeah. All right. Nice. So people like Ramsey, people like Christopher, reach out to Carolyn. Reach out. She'll be there. I'll be there. Reach out. She'll be there.
Yes.
Carolyn, as always, thank you for sharing with us, teaching us. Thank you for teaching us. And always to you and your family and your team and the Whisk-Free Gluten Bakery people. Don't just manage your time, manage your energy. And remember to give yourselves grace.
Amen.
Take care.
All right, guys.
Bye-bye. Oh, Carolyn, you forgot one thing. You've got a big event coming up in the next few months.
Yes. May
How did you
5th.
forget
Wow,
about
I didn't
that?
go further in my calendar. Okay, so May 5th, guys, this is where you want to be. It's going to be in Pickering. But on May 5th, we are having a plant-based expo. We're showcasing over 30 different vendors that have plant-based products or services. There's some in there that are just great services to have. And we're having cooking demos. So we're actually showing you how to do it. There's free samples from so many vendors. And we are going to, you'll be inspired with testimonies. We have somebody on there that's reversed cancer naturally on our program just by eating plant-based. It's so inspiring. And we have a whole section for kids activities. So don't say, oh, I've got my kids, I can't come. Tickets are right now on Eventbrite. And if you go on there, tickets are only $20. They are going up in a few weeks to $25. And before you know it, they're going to be $35. So get your tickets now. And the first 100 people to buy a ticket go into a draw for a free cold press juicer.
I gotta go for that.
Get your tickets right now and join our Go Plant-Based event, because we're bringing in local vendors that have amazing plant-based products, and we're showcasing them, and you're going to want to see all the gems in the world in one place. It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, I'm going to be there.
May 5th, mark your calendar and go on Eventbrite right now. It's called Go Plant-Based. Go Plant-Based.
You can get all the information going by the website, and also join the mailing list. They are aggressive in a good way.
There's so much going on.
Absolutely. So, Fitness IQ says, and she says, I'll contact you about that. And
just go on Eventbrite and buy tickets for you and all of your friends.
All right. She goes, watcha, cold press juicer. And Christopher says, I have a PhD in asking the questions. Well, I want you to have a PhD in reaching out to Carolyn. That's what I want you to have a PhD in. All right. Take care, Carolyn. You be well. Take care.
Thanks, guys. Such a privilege, and I love the audience.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
All right. It's in Pickering, Ryan. You going to go?
Yeah, I'll definitely put it on the calendar. We'll check the calendar, see what's happening that day. But yeah, always great info.
Speaking about that, what's up for the rest of the week?
What is happening? Allison, who runs Black Women's Collective, she is doing a women's mixer for International Women's Month. I believe that's on the 14th, which is Friday evening. So information about that will be going out in our newsletter. But really, the week is just meetings and calendars full of entrepreneurs that run brick and mortars to help them do the application. So that's where I'll be in 3 minutes. So looking forward to this back to back. I think there's 12 today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So,
okay. How about yourself? What's happening?
Comment first. What's going on today? Actually, a little bit quiet, but working with fellow team members, working on getting a lot of stuff on YouTube Shorts. I'm really going deep into YouTube Shorts. Meeting today with a potential new team member. Well, she is a team member, so just finding out where she's best aligned with what's going on with the platform, and just staying steady and developing new relationships. It's always making time developing new relationships and seeing how I can help serve others, because the biggest leaders are the biggest servers.
100%.
So
I love that.
All right, everybody, that's it for today. We'll be back on Friday. So Ryan, you know what? I'll probably run into your 10:30, so I don't want you to stay on any longer than you have to. But as always, please subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. Also, like the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. If you want to get in touch with Ryan Knight, I think I put it out there. There's all this contact information. I believe I put it in all the comment sections on most of the platforms. If not, my fault. If you want to get a hold of me, those are all the contact places. Gave you the YouTube, the website, the drvibeshow.com, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, the dr.vibe at the, I said that, the dr.vibe show, and Instagram at the drvibeshow, X, when I'm on there, only doing broadcasts, drvibeshow, and email dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. Did we do anything else? Anything else we need to mention? Join the Discord group. Email me. Advertise the business product or service. Email me dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. All right, that's it. We'll be back on Friday. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller to get stronger. Block assumptions. Then aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. And remember to give yourselves grace. And thank you for the support. And reach out to Carolyn. Let's get healthy together.
True.